Greetings everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's one, I want to take a look at a smartwatch. I know that last week I took a look at 3 random smartwatches. Well, all of them weren't really smartwatches. There was the Apple clone, the Pendo thing, and the janky Fitbit thing which people told me what it was. So thank you to all those people who told me what it was. However, I did say in that previous video that I wanted to show you all a smartwatch that I've had for many years now. It's just been sitting around doing nothing, and I think finally, today is the time we take a look at it. And my friends, that is the LEMFO LEM7 watch, or LEM7 watch. I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced. Also, before I continue on, just to let you know that timestamps are in the description below, so you can skip to wherever you want to. If you want to see the teardown of the watch, if you want to see the unboxing, the gaming test, there is a gaming test in this video on a watch. You heard that correctly. Stick around for that one. But if you want to use the timestamps, in all honesty, feel free to use them. Here is a listing of what the LEMFO watch would look like on Joom, of all places. It was $218 Australian, but it's currently sold out. I paid, I think, about $50 for mine on eBay in 2018 or so. And I originally intended to use it as a smartwatch, but I found out the battery life was pretty terrible and wanted something that could last me at least 2 or 3 days. So this just sat in my cupboard and now I'm finally taking a look at it. But if you haven't guessed by now, this isn't just a regular smartwatch. It's not something that runs Wear OS. It's not something that runs a generic OS or Java OS or anything like that. No, this thing is actually running a full version of Android 7.1 on this thing. But even better though, is that it's not just a smartwatch. It's basically a tiny little phone shoved into a watch, because we have Android 7.1. The CPU is a MediaTek MT6739M, which isn't the best, but it's better than an MT6580, so I'll give it a pass. It also supports 4G, so you can put a SIM card in this thing and use it as a normal phone. It works perfectly fine. 1GB of RAM and 16GB of internal storage, Bluetooth, GPS navigation, Wi-Fi, 580mAh battery, which doesn't last too long, I'll show you that, a built-in 2-megapixel camera, a display moving to light it, and stylish popular private clock interface for choice, which means a lot to me, but anywho. Just quickly though, I will show you some of the pictures in the listing, because I think they're quite funny. So we have high-level hardware, Android 7.1, 1.39-inch AMOLED screen as well. That's another thing going for this. It's got an AMOLED display, a 16GB memory, and more safer system. Also the picture with the CPU-looking socket 478 Pentium 4 thing with the pins on the bottom of the processor not being correct for it. You know what? The whole picture doesn't even make sense, so we'll just move on. Android 7.1, the notification system is more clear, background management is more rigorous, smoother to use, and faster installation. Fast, clear, smooth. Yes. 1.39-inch AMOLED round screen, high abrasion resistance, 1.39-inch 400x400 AMOLED screen, wide color gamut, high contrast, fast response. And as you can see the difference between AMOLED and OLED, OLED is blurrier, but I thought AMOLED and OLED were the same thing. That's okay. But hey, a 400x400 display at 1.39 inches. That's not bad with all things considered. This next picture has so many things that I just don't even, but titanium alloy watch house, 2-megapixel camera, titanium alloy with high strength, good corrosion resistance, high heat resistance, 2-megapixel high resolution camera, give you a clear and please daily shooting and video chat at any time. And somehow it has all of that technology in there. Well, I got to do a camera test with this, so I'll show you that when we get to it. 4G independent phone call, support nano SIM card, 4G network, make call independently, won't miss any message, and call can replace your phone. And yes, it can replace your phone if you wanted to. Also, this guy's calling Wade, so that's fair. GPS navigation, let the LEM7 fill in the GPS gaps when you leave your comparatively clunky smartphone at home or back in the office. Yes, because you want to walk around with this thing showing you where to go on the 1.39-inch display with a 580mAh battery life. For short distance stuff, probably good, but otherwise pretty much useless there. Also, this picture is used for silicone strap, closely linked with skin using a unique double row sweat structure, no wear of sweat anymore. And yeah, just take it in. Also, the last picture in the listing is a pilot just with the watch photoshopped on his wrist. And that's how the photo is, by the way. I didn't cut that off. That's actually how it is in the listing. Alright, that's enough of the listing. There's quite a lot of pictures that I could have shown, but I'll skip them and get right onto it because we have the LEMFO smartwatch here. 2018, I think I bought this for $50 or $60, something like that. Yeah, I tested it and battery life was pretty bad, and I honestly didn't know at the time properly the capabilities of this thing until I recently pulled it out and I was able to play GTAIII on this. My friends, I'm going to show you so much that this thing can do. Anyways, around the box first, sorry, we've got LEMFO with the electric our logo, shiny, shimmery goodness. Nothing around the box. We'll just go around in circles until we're done. Yep, we're fine. Cool. And then on the bottom, we've got the specs. The hardware is pretty much everything I've covered already, with the support for the 4G bands, GPS, heart rate monitor, Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is also dual band, so 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz networks are available on this, which is amazing. Touchscreen, AMOLED, all that sort of good stuff, and some regulations, and that's pretty much it. And we pop this open. See the circle on top of the lid there? That's how long it's been sitting in the package for. It's just been resting, and I've stacked stuff on top of it. Take this out. This is pretty nifty. Not the unboxing experience. I have thrown out some of the materials, but yeah, there's an operation guideline, piece of foam, and the instruction manual, which is in about 16 different languages. No, I'm sorry, 3. But we don't really need that, to be fairly honest, so that's all good, but that's pretty much all that's in the box. And you're probably wondering as well, how does one charge this thing? This thing charges like this. So we have 4 little prongs, then we have a micro USB port right there, which just then sticks onto the back of the watch like so, plug in your micro USB and off you go. And that's how you connect it to a PC as well. You just leave that there, plug it in, and you can access the whole 16 gigabytes of internal storage. I did originally read when I first purchased this that some of the LEM7 units actually had this as a secondary battery. So you take this around with you, take the smartwatch off, and then leave that there to charge. But this is just a base and nothing more. But around the watch though, we have the circular AMOLED display there, and we don't have any sensors as far as I can see. That could be a sensor just there, but there's an air bubble over it, so I'm not too sure. The construction of this is made out of plastic, and we do have the silicon band, which is not replaceable, so if you do damage this, it's pretty much good luck. Now, at the side of the watch, we have the 2 megapixel camera just sitting there, as well as a multifunctional button just there. It doesn't act as a crown or anything like that, it's just a single-use button. Microphone there, nothing on that side, but then flipping it over is where we have some interesting things. So we have smartwatch, heart rate monitor, and we also have FDD LTE. People in the last video told me that the sensors on the back of those watches were most likely fake. I mean, for blood pressure and blood oxygen levels, that's not going to do jack shit. But I believe that this one is completely legitimate. I mean, for the price of this thing anyways, I would say it would be fine. But we'll test it once we get to it. The little pogo pins there, and this inconspicuous door. What does this inconspicuous door hide? It hides the place to put your nano SIM in, and I've loaded this up with a Vodafone SIM, which does work perfectly at 4G, so I'll just stick that back on there. Also, there's a built-in speaker in this, and it's just hidden right there, so it fires sound out underneath the band sort of thing, which is a bit strange, but hey, just agree with it. With all things considered for this watch, thickness wise though, this is with a Galaxy Watch 3, and as you can see, there is not much difference, and this packs almost the same features as this, minus a camera. I think this was released in 2017, I think, so honestly it had a lot going for it, but it's by a manufacturer that I'd never heard of, and I still have never heard of to this day. This is the only instance I've ever come across LEMFO, but I did quickly Google and they do make a whole bunch of other stuff. Our attention today is focusing on this smartwatch. What exactly can this thing do? We are limited with 1 GB of RAM, but that's not going to stop me. I'm going to do my absolute best to show you as much as I can with this watch. Powering on the LEMFO. LEMFO. What a weird name. But there it is there. LEMFO, LEM, or LEM7, number 7 in the series, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but wait for it. It does have an animation, I think. There we go. Look at that. Sophisticated. Holy moly, look at that go. It's power, you know. Do you see that? Android was kicking in there, but the watch interface has went on top of it. I will show you how all that works soon. But looking at this, nice and close up there, there is the AMOLED display. While you can't see too much now, it is quite nice for what it is. 400 by 400 display, and just take note, okay, that this thing here has better specs than a Wacom device. Let that sink in for a little bit here. And it's also like, what, 1/4 the size of a regular Wacom device? All that stuff crammed into here. It's amazing. So swiping down, we've got the time, Bluetooth, 4G on Vodafone, got the date there, 99% battery life, and then we can swipe across to see a bunch of other shortcuts like brightness, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and then we also have this here, which is essentially closing background applications. So whenever you want to do that, you just come into here and press that and off you go. Music shortcut, cloud, which is the weather. It's 10 degrees here. Wow. Okay, well that's reasonable. And that's it for shortcuts. And if I touch and hold here, we can change the watch face to a bunch of different ones. So we have a nice animated, sort of looking cool, sort of I can't describe these things, that funky thing, and many gears with animations and stuff. Looks quite nice. I believe you can do your own custom watch faces on here, but I'm not entirely sure how to, but doesn't that look nice though? I could be here all day showing you these, but I'll just quickly go through them. Well, that's a Rolex. You now have a Rolex. That's really confusing. Oh, minimalistic. I like it. Yep, very minimalistic. Looks like eyes are looking at me. Blue spiral UAC technology from Mars. I don't know. Oh, it had Wednesday. It's not Wednesday, my dudes. Oh, yep, fancy. Hey, he's looking happy there. Depends if these are stolen from anything. You might have to let me know. There we go. See, happy little guy there. He's looking fancy. I don't know what country that is. It's not Brazil, is it? Oh, I've messed things up. Germany. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm bad with countries. I'm sorry. I'm terrible at this. I'm sorry. Sweden, I think. Or is that Norway? Oh, man. Well, anyways, we're at LEDs now, so I don't have to guess. There we go. Monochrome. That's kind of nice. Water resist, which, speaking of water resistant, supposedly it's IP55 certified, but that's as far as I can tell. The electroluminescence illuminator water resist. Multifunctional monochrome thing. Psychedelic fuzzy ball that you touch and your hair sticks up when you touch it. I forgot what they're called. And then you can add your own image if you want to. And that's it. So that was fun. I'm going to leave it as a psychedelic crystal ball thing because it looks cool. But anywho, if we swipe across, we get all of the applications installed on this device. So in this list, we have contacts, phone, messaging, settings, browser, yep, downloads, calendar, clock, camera, gallery, music, sound recorder, file manager, heart rate monitor, all in one word there, fitness, weather, voice search, Play Store, maps, assistant, operation guide, app store, and then we have the apps that I've installed. So I've got YouTube on here, open camera, which I originally used when I first got this watch back in 2018, because the orientation of the camera when you try and take photos is just all over the place. It's really wacky, but anywho. Translator was on by default, actually. We have Geekbench 5 on here. We are going to be running Geekbench 5 on a watch. That's insane to say that, but anyways. But what's more insane is, yeah, GTAIII is on here, so we'll try that. QuickShortcutMaker, system info, secret codes, and DeviceInfoHW. So we've got a lot to get through here, so hopefully I won't be boring you all to death, but I'll try my best here to go through this as in-depth as I can, but quickly as well. So contacts I don't really need to go into. But phone though, if I open up phone, there's our phone dialer there. I'm going to give this thing a call just to prove that this can receive calls. I can't make them because I don't have any credit on that SIM card. What's the default ringtone? Well, it just hung up on me. Well, it's supposed to make a sound, but okay.
Alright, so this is the LEMFO watch on speaker, and this is what call quality sounds like, and honestly, it's not too bad considering. I'm also standing in the lounge room and I can hear this thing from my office, so it is quite loud for what it is. Also, the microphone quality I won't show now, but you'll see it in the camera test.
Look, receiving calls on a smartwatch is nothing too spectacular, but I just wanted to show it off. Next up is messaging, don't really need to go into. We do have settings though, and I'll quickly just go through settings. So we have sound. Oh, ring volume was down, that's why. Oh, it was fluty phone. That makes sense. There we go. Yeah, nothing too much in here, and then how to go back is just swipe like that. Display, brightness level, sleep, and always time. I'm guessing that's an always on display, but if I do that, it should just... Oh, there you go. Always on display. App list style, you can choose arc or round. Round is really weird. I looked at this and went, yeah, it's kind of cool, but I'd rather the other one. In Connect, we have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi hotspot, AirPlay mode, GPS and cellular networks. And just to double check, it is actually 4G, so don't stress there. And yeah, with Wi-Fi, 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. So straight away, this beats majority of welcome devices. Come to think of it, have we actually came across any welcome devices with 5 GHz Wi-Fi? I wonder. I don't really remember. Gesture, we have screen on raising and pedometer service. That's all good there. Power saving, which, yeah, it doesn't really work. You've got 5 hours left. From the testing that I've done with playing around with this and installing applications, you'd be lucky to get through half a day with this. Considering I've got this connected to my iPhone via Bluetooth, this is also connected to Wi-Fi. It's also got cellular with the Vodafone SIM that I've got in it. So obviously battery life is not going to last too long on this. Languages and input, don't really need to do too much here except the virtual virtual keyboard. It has a standard Gboard on here, and I'm going to show you how that looks on this thing. Date and time, don't really need to do too much here. Reset equipment, don't need to go there. Uninstall applications, it's not an application list, it just shows you the apps that you can uninstall and that's it. In more, we have accounts, which I've actually added a Gmail account on this, so we're all good to go. Storage wise, 16 gigabytes with 3.69 gigabytes used. Nice. RAM, 1 gigabyte with 800 megabytes pretty much used there. Notifications, app settings, and data saver. About watch, finally, we have wireless update, which won't get anything, but it's the typical wireless update just there. Your device's software is currently up to date, so that's all good. Developer options is enabled, but there's only one thing there. In status, the battery level's at 94%. IMEI information is right there. Feel free to look that up and tell me where that's been pinched from. It could correspond to this watch, but I'm just not too sure about that. Here's a plot twist. We don't have a unique serial number. It's 0123456789ABCDEF. Nothing unusual there for a cheapo device. LEM7 or LEM7 is a model number. Android 7.1.1, which if I just tap that a bunch of times, we get the Nougat Easter egg, which if I just now press and hold this, I should get something. Oh, that's right, it's the cat Easter egg, I forgot. Security patch level is 2018, so yeah, I'd say probably 2018 is when I got this. Baseband version, kernel version, and build number is just there. So developer options is on, but you have to actually enable it with tapping build number several times to then get all the options there. So that's settings. Okay, folks, this is where things get interesting. We're now going to test the browser on this. As you can see, we have a slight tiny little problem, just an itty bitty tiny little problem. This really isn't optimized for a circular display. Android's not really optimized for a circular display. Hey folks with the circle phone, it doesn't work. Android on a circular display does not work because it will look like this. And I don't think people want stuff to be cut off everywhere. But anyways, if I just kind of press allow over here somewhere, it might end up working. Nope. And there we go. Finally, it's open. So if we go to Google, that's Google there. So now if I was to go ahead and type in LEMFO LEM7. That's very fun to do. Where's enter? Guess we'll just press here. There you go. And now we can browse the internet. So let's just go onto AliExpress, for example, and just check to see how much the watch is. Oh, the item's not available. But it was $145 at one point, which for $145 isn't a bad deal. I seem and false Russian feedback all received true who watch. Yes, the questions and answers on AliExpress are really funny. Please go have a look at them. Browsing is fine on this. While it's probably not going to be the best because of the 1 gigabyte of RAM that's almost taken up, at least you can browse the web on this and it's functional to a point that it's actually, well, it works for the most part, okay? One wrong move and then it closes, so then you got to go back into it and then you're back here again and everything's about blank and then you're back to Google and then if you touch here you go to Google and yeah. But that keyboard though, standard Gboard on this tiny little display, at least you can sort of, you know, go like this, move around and then pick a letter. I mean, this is on every version of Gboard, so that would help you out considerably. Downloads doesn't have much in it. Calendar looks like a calendar, which is nothing out of the ordinary. Clock looks like a clock. It tells you it's a clock too. Oh, timer, stopwatch. Camera's up next. Oh boy. Okay, this is confusing. What you're seeing now is this in portrait, not landscape. If I was to do landscape, I would have to put it, oh look, there's my N91 just there. Hello. You'd have to put it that way. This way? That way? This way? Oh, I don't know. I have taken pictures and a video with this, and I'd like to show you all that, because this is a very basic camera, and you can't do too much. You can't change any of the settings or anything. It is just how it is. That's why I installed Open Camera and did play around with this when I first got it. Let me go ahead and splice the photos and videos that I took with this watch in, and you can be the judge of how good that 2 megapixel camera is. Well, this is quite an experience. This is the video recording done on the LEMFO LEM7 watch, or LEM7 watch. I am trying to hold the camera at the frogs, but this is just extremely weird to do. I mean, I could go sideways, but then it doesn't make sense because then I'm not seeing things clearly, and it's just, this is difficult. This is really, really difficult. But I think you get an idea of what's going on. There we go. I'm just kind of holding it, in front of me and having the camera sort of pointed towards that so I can see. You couldn't use this camera for video calling or anything like that. It's just stuck on here for novelty purposes. I mean, we've got to be realistic here, but there's no focus, no settings, nothing whatsoever. It is just absolutely standard. But I guess I can't complain about a camera that's on a watch though. I mean, it takes photos and it does video. That's all it needs to do. There's Stuart there. I hope you can see him. Oh god, I have no idea how this is going to turn out when I edit this. The lemon tree. I'm confused at the orientation here. Let's not even try. There's the faraway aircon there. And I cannot zoom into that aircon, so we just have to agree. I definitely cannot zoom in, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the video recording on the LEMFO LEM7 watch. Let's continue on, I guess. Trying to point the camera. There we go. Now look outside. That's a doggo barking. Tell him to be quiet. So there's a bit of a confusion with the resolution of the camera. Later on I find that it says 5 megapixels, but on the box it says 2 megapixels, but the shots that I've taken are 5 megapixel shots, so it could be a 2 megapixel camera interpolated to 5 megapixels, but I'm not too sure until I tear it apart and have a look. So every instance that I say 2 megapixels, just agree with it. Yeah, sorry, my bad, it was in portrait view. It's just really confusing because I'm trying to hold the watch like this to record video, because I think, yeah, that's the way to hold it while taking video, but because it's going to be on your wrist and it's going to be like this, it's confusing. It's really, really confusing. Just agree with it. At least you got to see photos that I took with this thing, although they are kind of off center and all that sort of stuff because, well, I kind of couldn't really see where I was pointing at and stuff. The quality isn't too bad though. For a 2 megapixel basic camera on a smartwatch, it will absolutely do the job for the most part. Gallery's going to show all the stuff that I've taken photos and videos with. What is this? Whoa! Man Eric has a Mitsubishi Eclipse that's being eclipsed. I mean, this thing is sitting in permanent midnight on the... I think I need to watch Pimp My Ride again. Why is there... I have two questions. One, was this on here by default? Number two, if it wasn't on here by default, did I put this on here? Either way, I've got Pimp My Ride on a watch. That's pretty cool. Also, if you are wondering at this point in time, there's no like on-screen buttons or anything like that. Everything's controlled by this one single button and swiping gestures. That's pretty much it. Up next, we have music, which of course, BFG Division, man. Gotta try BFG Division, don't we? Bump the volume up to 100%. There was also no sound effects, so no best order nor best loudness or anything like that, so it's just default. So the speaker's just there. So I kind of have to do a little something like this. Yeah, that makes sense. I got to about 100 point something. For a device of this size, the speaker is more than enough. It's perfectly fine. I don't need to say much more than that. If you go back and watch other videos that I've made of much bigger Wacom devices, for example, the speaker's basically on par with this. So this LEMFO watch has a lot going for it. Sound recorder's gonna look like a sound recorder. I don't really need to test the microphone again, so I'll just leave that. File manager has a pie chart, but if you just tap that, there you go. Also, let me see if I can locate Pimp My Ride, because if I've put this on here, I should be able to find it, and it would probably most likely be in, what, pictures? Nope. There's videos there. Nope. Open camera? Nope. Movies? Nope. Music? Nope. My favorite? Nope. Notifications? Nope. Pictures? Nope. Podcasts? Nope. Ringtones? Nope. Video? Nope, it's not here. I think that's on here by default. Heart rate monitor, heart rate checking. So just stick that on there. Wait and let it do its thing. Calm myself down. Happiness. Peace, long life, cheeseburger. Chicken schnitzel actually would be good. I'll take that. I'm pretty sure 39 BPM is not good. It's probably not really an accurate reading. Maybe it needed to sort of be a lot tighter on my wrist like so. 55 BPM, 54 BPM is really, really calm. When I done it earlier, it was 73. But anywho, if I now do... yep, there you go. Check wear way... What did it say? Check wear way. Okay, if I take it away again. And try again, please. At least it says please. But look, I would say that does work, considering that if I take my wrist away, it complains. So the sensor is most likely probably legit. When I tear it down, I'll get a better look at it. Fitness is up next. Let's get started for an outdoor run. Nope, no record. Let's get started. I'm all good, man. Outdoor walk, indoor run, ride bike, play basketball, play football, play ping pong. Okay. Play badminton, rope skipping. That's all the stuff for fitness. Ping pong. Yeah, I mean, not include tennis. Ping pong, because that's fine. Okay. Weather is just weather. We have voice search up next, though. Let's try voice search. Oh, hello. Of course.
Here are some matching news articles.
Well, that works. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Peacock. Now that's what a peacock is supposed to look like. Yeah, voice search works. It's basically Google voice search, so no problems there. Play Store. So once again, it goes back to stuff like this is not really optimized for a circular display. Android plus circular display just does not work. But at least you do have the Play Store here to go ahead and install stuff like Pokemon Go and Subway Surfers and TikTok if you wanted to, and maybe Discord or Reddit, Chrome, Sonic Rush, anything like that. But you're probably also thinking at this point in time as well, how does one do a gaming test on this? Well, that, my friends, I will show you when we get to that. But yeah, through here I was able to put Geekbench 5 on here, so we'll test that. But pretty much, yeah, if you just open that up, keyboard pops up, type in whatever you want to type in and install it. But yeah, no option to expand the storage. You've got 16 gigabytes, but I think for a watch, that's basically, I'm going to say this is more of a novelty than anything. No one's going to be using this as an actual Android device. It's more just a smartwatch per se. Maps looks a little something like this. I'm just scrolling to see if I can find land. Let's see if we're close to anything. Oh, hello. I've landed somewhere where I don't know where I am. Also, there's no multi-touch, so you can't zoom in or anything like that. Yeah, that's what maps would look like. So if you're just walking around with it on your wrist sort of thing and just going, oh yep, where am I going to? Oh yep, alright, cool, now I've got to turn left. That works, but imagine having this in your car, like on your dashboard, navigating you to wherever. That would be really interesting. Assistance up next, where we have connect phone, remote capture, music control, send files, find my device. So which means it's time to quickly show the app, which the app says no more and okay. So that's good. The app is called WeWatch 2, and there's not too much to do here. Oh yeah, scavenging connection as well. So yep, it's connected. We're good. It was connected earlier. There we go. Already connected. And pretty much it's fairly basic within here. You can't do terribly much. It's just basically the fitness stuff and that's it. You can't adjust clock faces or anything like that in here. Pretty much if you did buy this watch, everything can be done on this. You don't really need your phone to do anything because it's just the fitness stuff and that's it. So whatever functions that you find in here is pretty much it. If I do find my device, well yeah. At least it doesn't say where are you like the other ones. And yep, I can play BFG Division with the controls on the watch. Remote capture, which opens up the camera. There you go. And send files, iOS doesn't support, so I can't do much with that. But yeah, that's pretty much the application. Not a lot you can do there, but at least the option is there if you wanted to connect it to your phone, have this as both a phone and a watch at the same time, and have fitness stuff. You can if you wanted to, but we're not really here for that. So let's keep moving on, because we've got Operation Guide, which is charging, Bluetooth, Mobile Assistant Connect, heart rate data incorrect, network is not available, watch connect with PC, charging. For the first time using, please charge the smartwatch after original battery power running off. The magnetic charger port is on the power bank. Put the smartwatch on the power bank for charging. Connect the USB cable between power bank and PC or other power sources. Disabled to turn on charge before connection on a magnetic port. Does that make any sense? Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, supposedly this is a power bank, but it's not, because if I stick that on there. It doesn't charge, it doesn't do anything. So other models did obviously come with a power bank, which would obviously be a lot bigger than this thing here. But at least if you lose the instructions, you can come into here and go, hey, Microsoft Translator is not working. What do I do? Help me. When the network is available, enter into Microsoft Translator, click the voice icon on the top and click default language on the left to select input language, click translation language on the right to select output language, then click voice icon on the top. Translation will come out after voice input. That made no sense whatsoever, so that's helpful. App Store's up next, which is just its own little app store, which you have Opera, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, and that's it. Not a whole lot here. Basically, it's just some APK files that I'd say would likely be hidden in the file system somewhere that you just click and it just installs it for you, because that's what I did with YouTube. Which, speaking of YouTube, oh boy, here we go, folks. YouTube on a watch. I mean, you've seen in the thumbnail that I was able to open YouTube on a watch. It's a bit laggy, because obviously, you know, we're not dealing with the greatest specs here. I'm kind of stuck, because on the YouTube app, what happens is you're supposed to touch the top here, and you're then able to start typing. However, it doesn't kind of work now. I have a fix for this, because I'm going to need to do this later anyways for the gaming test. That's one way. There we go, we're good now. So now what we do is we then just get the watch, and we just hook it onto there like so, and perfect. No problems whatsoever. We are ready to game, folks. Perfect. Okay, while that idea was good on paper, it didn't really work, so let me do this then. Okay, I'm running around like crazy, trying to work this out. This should now work. I don't know why I just didn't do this in the first place. I thought a controller would work. I finally got it. That took me about half an hour to actually go to the top there and press. Well, that was fun, but now I can finally show you Costa Rica in 4K. Well, 4K. That's 1080p, 60 FPS. Okay, of course it's not going to get us too far. I spent half an hour trying to get this to work, but that's YouTube on this. So, you know, I don't know how I managed to do it the first time when I went to take the thumbnail originally. I was able to touch the top and keyboard popped up, but for some reason now I couldn't do it, so I tried connecting controllers and all that stuff, and here we are. It's fine. It's all good. At least you know that YouTube works. Not that you can do terribly much with it though, but it works. I spent way too long doing that. The watch is getting quite warm at this point in time, and the battery level's at 40% or something. 58%. There you go. Well, what's next then? Open camera. I don't really need to go into. It's a 2 megapixel camera on a watch. I can't really do terribly much with that. Translator is this. Hello. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Take me to your leader.
Llévame a tu líder.
That worked better than I thought. Go look up the Peacock phone.
Ve a buscar el teléfono Peacock.
Can't argue with that, can you? Let's change it to Chinese, simplified. Send me the next Peacock phone.
给我送下一个孔雀农场。
That's not it. The PP phone was funny.
PP 手机很有趣。
Okay, I've had my fun for today. Geekbench 5 is up next. Oh boy, if it actually works. I don't know if it'll work or not. Oh, yep. Probably should be using the mouse, honestly. It's probably a lot easier at this point in time. So yep, it's an ALPS LEM7 or LEM7 Android 7.1.1 and the MT6739WA. Alright, well now that I've got to change my battery in my camera, I'll just run the benchmark and off we go. Okay. Really? I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Why you no work? That's sad. Well, I guess I won't be doing the Geekbench test then. I don't know why it doesn't work. Maybe because it's a low-end watch and... Look, the numbers probably wouldn't be anything spectacular, but still, it would have been funny to at least show it on here. Oh, anyways. Well, up next is the gaming test. However, I'll come back to using the controller for this. Now, if everything's worked, this should work. So if I open up GTAIII... There we go. Yep. Okay, here we go, folks. Where's the attachment? Okay, now all we've got to do is just do a little something like this. Fits perfectly. Not a problem. This is good. Draw distance on high, screen resolution on high, visual effects on max, dynamic shadows on, and frame limiter off. Cool. And also the audio needs to be down because I don't want to get a copyright claim. We're good to roll. Is this fine? This is fine, isn't it? Yeah, it's fine. It's perfect. Not a problem. Oh, I didn't wait for the Banshee. That's the first time that's ever happened.
I know a place on the edge of the red light district where we can lay low, but my hands are all messed up, so you better drive, brother.
Yep. Yep. This is this is Grand Theft Auto on a watch, and it's perfectly playable. Well, I mean, it's a little bit laggy. Maybe you need to just go for a little bit of a close-up. There you go. Now you can see everything. For the novelty of it, man. That's what counts. The fact that this can play GTA 3. I mean, it would have been cool to have Doom running on this, which is completely possible, but this is GTA 3 on a watch. This is fun. And yeah, it's quite playable, honestly. Some frame dips here and there because I did put it all on the maximum settings and the RAM usage is kind of a bit, you know, iffy with this watch. Whatever games do support controllers that will run on 1 gig of RAM and the quad-core processor, you'll be able to play on your LEMFO smartwatch if you wanted to. You just need a compatible controller and some way to sit the watch, like so, which I think is a pretty good setup, to be honest. But that's the gaming test. So now I can just pause and now I can just quit. See? Everything went better than expected. Geekbench still doesn't work, so I have no idea what's wrong with that. If anyone can help me down in the comments below, that'd be great, but it must be something to do with the specs, maybe. I'm not too sure. Let's go to DeviceInfoHW. Just double check the specs and see everything that's going on here. So I may need to use this. So there we go, 400 by 400, MT6739, 7.1.1. Any sensors there, 1 gig of RAM and 16 gigs of storage. The system on chip right there, quad core. System, LEM7 for everything. Screen is 400 by 400. And how does one do the multi-touch test? It's somewhere at the top. Hang on, I'll find it. There we go. Screen test. Multi-touch. And yeah, 1 point multi-touch, unfortunately. Memory, 1 gig, 16 gig. Camera, 2 megapixels. Not a lot you can do there. Battery, 1000 milliamp hours is the power profile, but it's a 580? I think it was 580, I've already forgotten. 47% we're now down to. Thermal, 35 degrees, 40 degrees on the CPU there. Sensors, we do have an accelerometer and a light sensor, but that's it. Quickly check CPU system info, just in case. You never know, there might be something different here. It's an Alps, LEM7, all that good stuff. MT6739, everything is all as usual. Screen there, 3.5 inches. That's incorrect. Battery is looking a little something like that. Sensors, cameras. It says 4.8 megapixels there. Hang on a second. Well, I just made a big blunder. I'll have to put in a note back at the camera test. We've actually got a 5 megapixel camera on this, not a 2 megapixel one. I need to check the box again. Hang on. 2 million HD pixels on the box, but it's a 5 megapixel camera on here. So that's probably why I had Open Camera installed on here, because I found out it was 5 megapixels and then was able to stuff around with it. That makes sense. Well, the only way that I'm going to really be able to tell is if I tear it down to see the code on there. Otherwise, yeah, it could be 2 megapixels interpolated to 5 megapixels, but the shots look decent enough, so I'll leave it up to you folks. Do you think it's a 2 megapixel camera or 5 megapixels on here? If the resolution says 5 megapixels, then we have to agree that it's 5 megapixels, but it says on the box 2 megapixels, the advertising says 2 megapixels, I don't know. I don't know, man. We are pretty much down to the 2 final applications. So I've got secret codes and QuickShortcutMaker. So if I open up secret codes, we get to see what secret codes are on here. So we have calendar storage, engineer mode, engineer mode, engineer mode, which is all MediaTek stuff, Google Play services, settings, which is going to be watch information. Oh, yep, there's a factory test here. So yeah, settings is just the normal MediaTek settings, and then factory, I don't know what that says there, but yep, okay. But if we open QuickShortcutMaker though, this is where I should, now I say should, be able to open up, if I go down to System UI, okay, I thought I could go into System UI and then open up a launcher from here, but it appears that I have opened up that's okay. So this is the only launcher that's on this watch. So we now have to get another launcher then. That's okay, I can get that. So I've just downloaded the Pixel launcher and we should be good to go. I got it. Now this is how it's supposed to be used. So now I have everything here. I can swipe down and have all my notifications there. While it's just the launcher and settings hasn't changed, this is just a bit of an extra added bonus to show if there was no watch interface, this is what it would look like. And while it's not really usable in that sort of sense, it's usable for the most part. The apps are very small and obviously you can't see too much information. If I then go back to main activity, there we go, I've changed it back. But that there, folks, is everything that's on this watch. I've done a gaming test, I've shown you YouTube on this, I've showed apps, I've showed camera, I've pretty much have tested everything I need to on this watch. And honestly, for what it is, as I said, it beats most Qualcomm devices, so I'm happy with that. The battery life, you can't expect too much from a 580 mAh battery powering a MediaTek processor intended for smartphones, and then with 4G being on, Bluetooth on, Wi-Fi as well, the battery life is just horrible. But pretty much everything else though, when it comes to usability, functionality, it's actually quite good. Yeah, if you do see this watch floating around, just know that it runs a fully fledged version of Android 7.1.1 that if you just stuff around with and persist with keyboards and controllers and all that sort of stuff, you have a novelty right here. As a watch itself, it'll do. Connecting to an app though is pretty much useless. Have this on your wrist and just don't connect it to your phone. Chuck a secondary SIM card in here and use it for half the day, I suppose. It has good functionality, I will say that. And for what I paid for it, which I can't really quite remember the exact amount, I finally got to look at it after all this time, and while I did run into some technical issues while trying to actually open YouTube, actually let me go back to YouTube real quickly so I can see my little issue that I had. No, I still can't. That's okay, at least I've got to demonstrate it. If you've ever heard of LEMFO before, feel free to let me know down in the comments because I've never heard of them before. As I said, this is the only instance I've heard of them, and this is the only product I've got from them, and they've packed quite a lot in just a tiny little watch. I know there's other watches out there that also function as a phone and all that sort of stuff and have similar features, but come on, you've got to admit it's pretty cool. Even just for a novelty, it's pretty cool. I'll leave it down to that. So I'll power it off and you get to hear the animation now. We'll hear the animation. Yeah, that makes sense. See? And now, folks, we tear it down. Okay, well, there's 4 screws that hold this together, and that's pretty much it, I think. I should be able to then see if it's waterproof, if there's a gasket around this or something like that. I will have to check that. And now we can crack the back open. Okay, so there was a bit of a seal going around it. Not too much, though. I don't think that would be waterproof. I don't know, prove me wrong, but that's all the adhesive that was on there. Wasn't too much, but anywho. So I'm going to take these screws out to remove the band. Oh, there's an antenna in the band. Okay, both sides have antennas in them. I guess I shouldn't be really too surprised with that, because pretty much by the looks of it, they've used up all of the room they've got. So taking the tape off, I can now disconnect the battery, disconnect the sensor ribbon just there. So that's all of that there. This little ribbon has the sensor, the SIM tray, and the USB connection all on one thing. What's more interesting is that the battery is actually a circle. I didn't think that would be the case, but sure enough. And taking the battery off, sure enough, a 580 mAh one. It's so adorable. I always say that with all devices, but honestly, it is. It's adorable. I'll just go ahead and put that back in there and pretend no one was ever here. Okay, so both bands are connected just like so. Okay, so the little antenna connections there. All right, that makes sense. Okay, now we're into the actual guts. All right, I got it apart. All right, so what you're seeing here is a little light sensor, I think. Then we've got the button connector, then the display assembly, which does say OLED, not AMOLED. Ah, you were wrong advertising. It's close enough. There was also some adhesive on the speakers, so there was probably some waterproofing going on here, and the little tiny camera. So let's get you out. There's the code right there. I will Google this and see if anything comes up for that code, but I would say, I mean, the size of it would be 2 megapixel, but it could be 5 megapixel. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong there. Alright, well the last interesting piece is the motherboard itself, which is a circle, which was to be expected. So we have a coin-style vibration motor just hanging off there. We also have the speaker, which is about the same size as an earpiece speaker on a normal device. That would be probably the same sort of size. And then the microphone's just dangling off there, and then we have all the connectors around there. Then flipping it over, we have a sticker, which does say it's a C7S LD, but it doesn't have too much information on there. The question is, do I pull the shielding off and have a look at the chips underneath? I am going to make a decision and say no, only because I want to keep this working. While I could pull the shielding off and show you all I am 100% convinced that it's a MediaTek MT6739 in here, 16GB of storage, I can guarantee that, 1GB of RAM, that's definitely guaranteed. So I'm just going to assume that everything under here is all completely legit. We'd know if we had an MT6580 in here, that's for sure. A lot of sophisticated stuff in here, I can tell you that. But now comes the point in time where I'm going to have to reassemble the whole thing, and I can't do that with a camera in front of me. So I'm going to have to do this off camera, and then once I've got it back into somewhat of a usable state, we'll power it on and see if it still works. So we will be back. Okay, I have got it back together, I think. I'll go ahead and power it on and see if I let this device live. Ah, it still lives. Well, we'll see about that. It's just amazing that they've managed to squeeze all that hardware into this. I didn't kill the speaker. That's good. Did I kill the touchscreen? No, because that's on one flex cable. It should be fine. It's the camera I'm worried about because that was kind of a little bit iffy to pull out, but we'll see. Come on, buddy, you can do it. I believe in you, kind of. Alright, now I just come down to camera, and I didn't kill it. Cool. That's good. It does say please wait though. Please wait for what? Did I do anything? Did I break it? I think it's fine. Just checking to make sure the USB still works, and it certainly does. I did not kill this device. If I pulled the shielding off, I probably would have somehow killed it, because there was so much on that tiny little motherboard that I just didn't want to wreck this. I think it's a worthy device to keep, even though it's essentially a welcome device, essentially, with a serial number, a MediaTek and all that sort of stuff. All those sort of things share similarities with welcome devices, but it's not. It's got an AMOLED display. It showed all the true specifications. The camera could be 5 megapixel, could be 2 megapixel. I'm still not sure if it interpolates or not. I'm just going to say 2 megapixels because that's what it says on the listing. But anyways, I've rambled on way too long about a watch that's essentially a phone that can do a lot of things like a normal phone would do, except it's just downsized on a tiny little screen. And as I said, Android's is not really optimized for a circular display, and that circle phone's no exception, is it? That's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed having a look at this LEMFO watch with me, and pretty much smartwatch wise, I haven't really gone through the rest of the smartwatches. I just pulled this one out because I thought this is the one that I showed off in the last video. I want to get this one over and done with. If you folks want to see any of the other cheapo smartwatches that I have, if they work, providing they work with a battery that I have found for them, then I'm happy to show them off, but otherwise they're just generic MediaTek cheapo smartwatches that honestly they could probably wait for another day. I've got a lot of phones that I want to have a look at, and I'm going to be reviewing the OnePlus 10T very, very soon, which is quite exciting, but also very overwhelming at the same time. But yeah, just a few questions quickly. Any reason why Geekbench wasn't working? If anyone knows that. Have you used a LEMFO device before? And have you heard of LEMFO? And do you have an Android watch like this that you use or just have in your collection? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm always interested in what you folks have to say, if you've ever had experience with any of these devices I look at on the channel. But anyways, folks, that's going to do it for today's one. Thanks so much for coming along this long and tedious journey of having a look at a cheapo smartwatch. And if you had to use the timestamps to jump to wherever, that's all good as always. Take care, stay safe, be good people, and I'll see you all in the next video, which may be a phone review, possibly could be something else, not too sure. I've got a lot that I have to do and get through, so just stay tuned for whenever I upload next. Anyways, folks, take care, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like this content, feel free to leave a like or a dislike if you didn't. Thanks heaps for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.